Yeah, the focus of my TLC for this cycle was to think about developing the feedback in the sixth form. So when I'd handed back an essay, obviously I'd write what they needed to do on it, and the students would go away and improve it. And I think that what I thought was that this could be developed further. Now, last year once I did video individual pieces of feedback for the students, and that's something that I thought that maybe I could do again this year, but develop and move forward. So what I'm going to do is I've set an essay on how legal Hitler's consolidation of power was, and then I'm going to obviously have a look at the students' responses. I'll then kind of give it a bit of mark, but then I'll video the feedback that I'm giving, and I'll give those videos back to the students, get them to watch them, and then see if they can improve the video. Let's see if there's any real progress being made. Now you can see two of the students in my class watching the videos that they've been sent by me, and then looking to first of all annotate their work to decide what it is that needs improving. You can see that they've taken my 2 stars and a wish stamp there. You can see Rob's, and he's filled that in to show that what it is he's done well and what it is that he can improve. And then obviously having ascertained that, then the students are going to start in green pen, building on that to try and say what it is that they're going to do to improve, and how are they going to do it. They're going to evidence that with me, so that might be rewriting parts of a paragraph, it might be rewriting a conclusion or whatever it is I said. As you can see on the screen there, you can see that there's the video playing and the students are looking at the video of their work and the fact that I've gone through it with them. So here we go, then I asked some student voice and asked my class, how effective do you think the video feedback was? And I think that it's interesting to see that breakdown there, that everybody thought it was either at least as effective, but the vast majority of students, 83%, think it was more effective than written feedback. Okay, this is a point at the top here that I would definitely say was part of the reason why I picked to do it. It is harder to, in writing, I feel personally, to communicate exactly what you mean. There's also students who have been engaged here. Yeah, maybe the mention of tone there, which cannot be written. I think that's interesting. Okay, more detail perhaps when you're speaking, although this person does feel that maybe sometimes that's fine to carry on as we were. Yeah, easy to understand, more detail, no need to interpret, or everything's clear there. The video's more personal, and they were like hearing the feedback firsthand, as if each point were being talked about in more specific detail. Also, the benefit of being able to look at other people's feedback was useful and compare it to my own. I think that's a nice touch as well, just to sort of watch the videos, see what other people are doing well and how they've improved. So yeah, look at that, it looks pretty positive. And if we look at the second slide here, you can see as well the fact that obviously I wasn't with them at home. They started their improvement, their dirting lesson, but then when they got home, they looked at, obviously 83% of them, the vast majority of them, watched the video again before starting their improvements, and that's something that they couldn't have done. Interesting that half will watch it again before the next assessment, half well. Perhaps I'll make that compulsory, I don't know, but I think that off their own bat, the fact that half would say yeah, I'd watch it again shows further evidence of the impact of the video.
It's like having a conversation with the teacher, so you know exactly what they mean and you're not having to think about what their notes mean.
In fact, it's given in such much more detail, it makes it a lot easier for you to make your corrections and improvements.
What do you think the impact's been? Is it better than normal written? Is it a bigger impact?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a lot easier to help you improve because you know exactly what areas to work on.
Yeah, and the whole process of making and implementing the improvements has just become a lot easier really for everyone at home.
Well, it seems from that evidence then, from the student voice, that the students have really taken to the process of having their feedback videoed, and have a look through the classwork as well that they've then redone. You can see that really has a good example. I mean, this is a particularly nice example here. So you can see how the student has obviously got the 2 stars and a wish stamp from me, and then loads more wishes, and then it's just clearly annotated and improved their work, okay, to a really high standard. And I think that an important aspect of this is, on this particular one, is I was talking in the conclusion about developing that, and that's always a tricky skill to try and do, and I've given some advice about how they could structure it and what have you, and to see that that's come through and that the student has been able to do that now, I think is really, really positive. And obviously, I'm not sure I could have articulated that in the same way by just writing it down, so I think that, or in the same detail, so I think that's good, and I think it's something that I'll carry on throughout the year. I must point out at this stage, there's only 12 in the class. Obviously I couldn't do this for a bigger group, it's simply too big a job. But that said, in terms of the time it took me to mark the work, I don't think it really took me that long at all. If you just look back at that same piece of work, what I did was just offer my purple pen just odd words around the piece of work, or even just stars, little marks like that, not much at all. And then basically, but obviously having read it, then when I did the video, it was much easier to see and to remember what I meant, and I could just articulate it fully there. I think what I also found is that when I've done written feedback before, the students have always been like, "What do you mean by this, sir? What's that mean? What's going on with this?" And I think that therefore I've had to then answer it. Well, I think what I felt like I was in two places at once. So each of the students was getting their own personal video feedback. But then if anyone was like, "Oh, what's this? So what's that?" Hands were going up, and I was able to go. So I felt like I was on the screen, which obviously I was, and in the room. So I was like at two places at once. And I think in the lesson itself that made it more effective. So I'm pleased I picked it for my TLC focus, and obviously I'll continue it throughout the rest of the year.